So in the past in non-league, there's been teams relegated or denied promotion because of a lack of covered seating, a lack of capacity in their stadiums, a lack of floodlights. There's a completely new one happening at the moment, and that is Aylesbury FC, who play in the Southern League Division 1 Central, which is the 8th tier, and they're due to be relegated due to their changing rooms not having enough floor space. Similarly to a lot of the videos on this channel recently, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. Now it's January, it's useful to use their app to keep up to date with transfers happening around the world, as well as other different things like scores, league tables, etc. If you want to download that app, links in the top line of the description. But yeah, the situation in Aylesbury FC is pretty controversial, so let's get straight into it. So back in 2014, the FA wrote to a lot of teams in non-league telling them of new regulations in changing room sizes. They said that home and away changing rooms had to be increased from 12 square metres to 18 square metres. This was to allow for increased squad sizes and also to allow more medical equipment to be kept in the changing rooms. FA also said that they could get 70% of the funding for these upgrades from the Football Stadium Improvement Fund. So the FA followed this up in October 2018, basically saying to all these clubs that it needs to be up to the standard that was previously stated by the 31st of March, while the plans had to be in place by the 31st of March, and the actual improvements had to be done by the end of July 2019. So for the 7th and 8th tier, if you're increasing the changing room minimum size from 12 square metres to 18 square metres, it's going to require extra building work to be done. You might have to completely rebuild your changing rooms, and if they're stored as part of a main building, then that could create a really big issue, and you might have to make some big changes to a building, and it's all going to be very, very costly. So Aylesbury FC are currently fighting relegation in the 8th tier. They're currently in 18th place above the relegation zone, so currently they're set to avoid relegation. Now, a club in their position is surely, if they've got any money, they probably haven't got a huge amount of money, they're going to be investing that into their squad in a bid to stay up. They don't want to be spending that money on increasing the size of changing rooms, because if they do that, then they might not be able to afford a squad that's going to be able to keep them up anyway, so they might end up going down regardless. So they're in a bit of a catch-22 situation here, and it's pretty horrible to see, and unfortunately they have actually accepted an automatic relegation which will come into place at the end of the season, seeing them go down to the 9th tier. And the club has released a statement. They said that they were putting together a plan of how to get funding and manage this situation, but they quickly realised that the deadline was not achievable, so they contacted the FA, and the FA basically said to them, look, there's no exceptions to this, we can't let you off. The statement also said that the home and away changing rooms were very close to the new size required, but the main problem is the referee's changing room, and that's going to be a long way below the actual required size. And this led local BBC journalist Ollie Bayliss to go and test out the referee's changing rooms, of which he found them to be fairly adequate, and it's a real shame that that is the main problem, that this team are going to be automatically relegated. And anyway, going back to that previous argument of the increase in changing room size happening because of increased squad sizes and more medical equipment being needed to be stored, referees, there's 3 of them, there's a ref and 2 linesmen at 7th and 8th tier. That's not going to increase unless they bring a 4th official in, which doesn't happen until you get to the 5th tier. So unless they're going to do that at lower levels, then these upgrades really to a referee's changing room, I don't really see any reasoning as to why it needs to happen. Yes, of course, it's nicer for the officials to have more space to get ready, but is that a big enough issue to mean that these teams need to be relegated because of it? I think it's a bit unfair. And the Aylesbury manager has actually come out and said that while he's really disappointed about it all, he is going to actually stay at the club because, you know, as a manager, you're completely helpless in this situation. You can't do anything to help your team get bigger changing rooms or bigger referees changing rooms. You've just got to basically just hope for the best and hope that your chairman is going to make a decision that benefits the club. And maybe they might look to make these upgrades long term, because if they want to get back into the 7th and 8th tier potentially, then they're going to need to make these upgrades in the future, because these regulations probably won't change again for some time. If anything, they're probably going to increase in size again in the future. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. So a bit of a thought shower in the comment section down below on this situation. It's certainly an interesting situation, and yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new around here, remember to hit that like button and click subscribe. Trying to get to 15,000 subscribers by the end of the season. If we could get there, that would be absolutely awesome. So yeah, click the subscribe button. And yeah, I hope to see you in this video, and thanks for watching.